upright, you have a choice. The devil is throwing everything at you that he can. The devil, first of all, like my dream, he wants you to be scared of him. He wants you to be scared of him. He wants you to believe everything he hollers in your ear. He wants you to back away. He wants you to kowtow. He wants you to keep your head down. And most of all, he wants you to keep your mouth shut. He don't want you to speak up. He don't want you to stir up anything. He don't want you to say anything against anything that's wrong. Just sit right there. Somebody asked Dr. Lakin one time, what have I got to do to go to hell? He said, absolutely nothing. Just sit right where you are. And you'll get there soon enough. And so you've got a purpose in your heart that you will not defile yourself with this world. And that is a choice that only you can make. Your mom and your daddy can't make it for you. Your brothers and sisters, your kids, nobody can make it for you. You have got to decide that on yourself. I will not defile myself with this world. Now, God brought Daniel into favor with the prince of the eunuchs. Everywhere Daniel went, everybody loved Daniel. Daniel's got to be kind of like Donna. I don't know what's up with that. There have been many times we've been out at the store, been at the mall. I've had people walk up, they go up to Donna, oh, Donna, so good to see you. They hug her, and they look at me and growl like a dog and keep walking. Everybody loves Donna. Daniel's kind of like that. Everybody loved Daniel. And the prince of the eunuchs said to Daniel, because Daniel had said, look, I don't want to eat this stuff. I don't want to eat the king's food. I don't want to drink the king's wine. Give me something else. And the prince of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your food and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then you will make me endanger my head to the king. Let me tell you something. The man who was in charge of taking care of those boys said, look, if I give you something else to eat, and you present yourself to the king, and you look all peaked, and you look all scraggly, and you look all rough, he's going to cut my head off. That's what he said. The king wasn't playing. So Daniel said to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, he said, prove your servants. Prove your servants. I beseech thee 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. One of the translations calls pulse beans. Just beans. Another translation says vegetables. But it wasn't nothing that an average teenage boy is going to ask for. Yeah. I don't know about y'all, but I've raised 2 teenage boys, and I never had them come begging me for beans. And Lord knows, vegetables, they didn't beg me for that too much either. And so this is a tough thing that they had to do, because you ever ridden by a restaurant and you can smell that food cooking? There's a place in Lexington that as soon as you step onto the main drag in Lexington, you will get hungry. I don't care if you just came out of a place to eat, because the smell of sauteed onions is all over that town. I love sauteed onions. Run me crazy. And so no doubt these boys got to smell all that delicious food being brought into all the other boys and all the children that were in captivity. And they smelt all that stuff, and they said, give us some beans and give us some water to drink. Then he said, let our countenances, our faces, be looked upon before you in the countenance of the children that eat the king's meat. And as you see fit, deal with your servants. Give us 10 days. We will not compromise for 10 days, and then see how much better we do. That'd be a good test for everybody in the house of God here today. Take 10 days and do nothing that compromises with the world, and see how much better you feel at the end of that 10 days. You might be in shock at how much more you have improved. So he consented to them in this matter, and he proved them for 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter. Now, I'm going to give you an old English term. The teenagers have a word called P-H-A-T. It's pronounced fat, but that means it's a good thing. I found out, though, that that's nothing new, because on the island of Tangier Island, they speak Old Welsh English. And they warn you when you go on that island that when the villagers that live there say certain things to you, do not get offended. They said because if you're an exceptionally nice-looking female, the first thing the locals will do is go, boy, is she fat. You say that over here on the street, and you might get your head taken off. But I like that. But it means good-looking. And in the Old English, it said that they appeared fairer and fatter in flesh. Boy, I tell you, I wish that was in vogue right now. I'd be a god too, I tell you, you know. But seriously, the word fatter meant better looking. And so their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. And so Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and he gave them beans. So they didn't compromise. They said, no, we're not going to do it. And they had every reason to be compromised. They were miles and miles away from their home, miles and miles away from their family. Nobody was looking. Nobody cared. The place where they was at, guess what? Everybody's doing it. You ever hear that expression? Especially when you're a teenager. Oh, they look at you and go, oh man, it's cool. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. And that's what they heard. Everybody here's doing it. Why should you worry? Enjoy it. You're in captivity. You're a teenager. Your identity's been taken away from you. Go ahead and compromise. And Daniel and the other three said no. And God rewarded them. They looked better after 10 days than all the other ones that were doing the thing of getting along to get along. And as for these 4 children, verse 17, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Everybody in here wants to have some knowledge from God. Everybody here, I know in your heart, you want some wisdom from God. You want to be able to know the things of God and be able to speak for Him at times by reading His Word and being able to interpret His Word and understand His Word. And you want to represent God. Well, if you do, you better quit compromising. Yeah. If you want to have power in your life, and if you want to get up and say, let me tell you what God says about something, without people laughing at you, then live a life that is separated and holy to God and quit compromising with the world, and He will give you those things. The Bible said if you want wisdom, ask it of God, but don't do it with a double-minded mind, because you won't receive anything of the Lord. You need to expect it when you ask. And so these boys were given wisdom. They were given knowledge, and they were given power with God, because they made a stand and said, no, I will not compromise. Now at the end of the days, the king had said he would bring them in. The prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. 3 years of this. And the king communed with them. And among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. They got a position in the king's court to be his advisor. And they stood with him in court because they did not compromise, and the king respected them. He may not have agreed with them, but he respected them for their stand. And if you want somebody to respect you for your stand, then be true to your testimony. And it said, and in all matters of wisdom, And understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them what? 10 times better than all the magicians and the astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even until the first year of King Cyrus. What's the point, Dave? The Lord is speaking to everyone here today and telling you, do not compromise. Let me tell you something, folks. The day's coming, and it may already be here for you, that you will have a choice of, am I going to stand for God? Am I going to stand for what is right? Am I going to stand on the Word of God? Or am I going to take the easy way out, deny Him, deny His Word, and just go along with the rest of the world? You have a choice to make, and that choice that you make will last you for a lifetime. If you make a stupid choice, it will be so hard, if possible at all, to get your testimony back after you've thrown it down the tubes. But if you make a stand for God, you may not be the most popular person on your job, in your school, or even in your church, or in your community. But you will hear God tell you, well done, one of these days when you stand before Him. And it may not be long before we're all standing before Him. So do not give your testimony away. Do not sell it as Esau did for a bowl of soup. You stand your ground and you stick to the Word of God and you live for the Lord, and payday is coming. I promise you, every one of you in here, payday is coming. If you will just stick to the Word of God. Stick to that and do not compromise for any reason whatsoever. Let's bow our heads to